Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Ramik Hunt, obesity medicine specialist. Thank you for tuning in to today is to answer your questions. So I'm going to be, thanks for sending in the questions by the way. I'm going to be answering the questions. If I can catch some, as they go up the screen, I'll try to answer the ones that you asked me real time as well. So I'm going to give it a second or two, about 30 seconds, and we'll get started. I'm going to have a drink of water. And hope you guys had a great Monday. These are all posted on my IG page, Facebook page, and the No Guesswork YouTube page. And so you can take a look at them later if you have any other questions. So I think without further ado, we will get started. And so one of the questions I got from one of my DMs was, I get this a lot actually. A lot of people ask me this particular question in general. What is the best, what diet works the best and why? And I think I wanted to start with that question because it really lends itself to why I even wrote the book, because so many things are confusing out there and people are super confused as to what they should do to get to a healthier weight. And so that's why I wrote this book. And I really do think that a diet should check the boxes of all my 6 S's is what I call it in the No Guesswork Diet book. And so it should be safe, it should be simple, it should be satisfying, it should be superior, so better than other diets. It should be sustainable, meaning that you can stick to it, and it should be sugarless, and that's where the low carb comes in. And so there are a lot of diets that are good for you. There are other diets that might not be so good for you, but they can help you lose weight. But can they encompass all of my 6 S's? And so there are a couple of diets that can do it. Of course, the No Guesswork diet can do it. It's a low carb Mediterranean diet. And so the safe is most of the diets that you are aware of are safe. So most of them check that box. So just a regular low calorie diet typically is safe. There are some diets where you just eat a particular or drink a particular substance that typically is not safe and it's not sustainable for the long term. But a low carb diet, a low calorie diet, those diets are typically safe. And then the next thing is, well, is it simple to do? And that's where things get tricky, because a lot of diets aren't so simple. Some diets you have to do this, you got to eat this, and you got to know this. And so we tried to make the No Guesswork diet a simple low carb diet. So a low carb diet is simple to do in the sense that it can, you just need to follow your carbohydrates. That's all you need to do. And you just count your carbs, and you don't need to worry about calories. You don't need to be worried about any other thing. When you finesse it a little bit, you do want to know a little bit more. But so a low carb diet is to me, checks off all the boxes that it's safe, it's simple, it's sustainable, and it's superior. And we know that a low carb diet is superior to other diets. There are many studies that show that out the gate, a low carb diet bests all other diets. Now, when you get closer to the end, the diets seem to do the same as far as weight loss. A lot of that has to do with people not sticking to whatever the particular diet is. But for superiority, a low carb diet is better than other diets. And then the sustainability is good too, particularly if you allow yourself to explore and do other things and make sure you get your snacks right and all these different things. And so it's a really good diet in that sense. Someone asked, what do I think about sugar substitutes? I can't see. Oh, Mrs. Duchess, thank you. So sugar substitutes are tricky because they are good if you need to get yourself off of sugar, but there's studies that show in the long term they may work against you, so that you're tricking your body to think that you have sugar, and sometimes the sugar, your body responds in that way, and so your body may think sugar is coming and waiting for sugar, and then it doesn't come, and then your body then, it's like crying wolf, right? So your body then doesn't think that the sugar is going to come because you've tricked it so much, and so the response to it is lessened, and you become more insulin resistant. So you do need to be careful. We also do think that sugar substitutes can change the microbiome or the gut flora, the probiotics in your gut. And so in an unfavorable way. And when you do that, sometimes that will then, that can lead to weight gain. So thank you for that question. And then the next question is, can you do a low carb diet if you have diabetes? Or can you do a low carb diet or intermittent fasting if you have diabetes? That question was asked to me actually a week or, well, actually it was asked to me on Twitter. And the answer is yes. I'm not sure why the person thought that you couldn't do a low carb diet if you have diabetes. I think the reason is because they assume that if you do a low carb diet, you'll drop your sugars too low, and then you can get, what we call hypoglycemia. And so the truth is, yes, if you do a low carb diet and you don't make adjustments to the medications you are on, you absolutely can drop your sugar, because the medications that you were given with the assumption that you were eating a certain amount of carbs. Now, if you reduce the amount of carbs that you're eating, in other words, you're not putting in the amount of carbs into your body, then you don't need that amount of medication. So you then will decrease your medication. But you should not do that on your own. You should, speak with your doctor before you go on any weight loss journey. You need to involve your doctor, particularly if you're on medications, because your medications may need to be changed. And we say that in a no guesswork diet, like when you get on a no guesswork diet, you need to be talking to your physician, because you're gonna likely have to decrease your blood pressure medications or stop them altogether. You're gonna likely have to decrease your diabetes medications or stop them altogether. So it's important that you have your doctor with you to make sure that they're helping you manage that. Someone asked, how often should a diabetic eat oatmeal? Think that was on Facebook. I think you should. Oatmeal in and of itself is not it's not a requirement to eat if you're diabetic. But what you should do is try to get fiber. And if you're getting your fiber from oatmeal, make sure it's real oatmeal. Make sure it's like a steel cut oat. Make sure it's a good grain. If you eat instant oatmeal is like eating regular cereal, because they chop it up and refine it so much that it no longer has its fiber structure in the protection that fiber gives you. So that if you do eat oatmeal, you need to make sure that you eat a really good, like a steel cut oat. And either way, if you're eating, you need to account for those carbohydrates that you eat, because a carbohydrate that's broken down is a carbohydrate that's broken down. Fiber is a little bit different in a different story, and I can answer that question next about net carbs and total carbs. But you can eat steel cut oats, but you don't necessarily need to eat oatmeal if you're diabetic. One of the other questions I get a lot is a low carb diet dangerous? And the answer is no. In fact, the exact opposite is true. A low carb diet is very healthy for you. And what's really dangerous is the opposite of that, a high carb diet. So eating excess amounts of sugar is bad for you. Eating low sugar is good for you. And there are a lot of reasons why that is. I go over that in the book. But a low carb diet, well, why do people say a low carb diet is dangerous or bad for you? Some people think that because they associate it with keto. So a keto diet, and a keto diet is a form of a low carb diet and is safe as well. And so there's nothing wrong with producing ketones, meaning that you eat a diet that's so low in carbs that your body burns fat and it produces ketones. And you can, some nutritionists even will tell you that that's bad or dangerous. So that means going to sleep every night is bad or dangerous because you don't eat while you're asleep. And in fact, the reason that you can actually sleep for 8 hours, well, I don't get 8 hours usually, but the reason that one can potentially sleep for 8 hours is because you have ketones that fuel your body while you are asleep. So you don't have to get up every couple of hours in order to eat to fuel your body so that you pump your heart and help you breathe. You have fuel. And that fuel that you get every single night is from ketones. Ketones are very safe. In fact, someone else asked this question. We give a low carb ketogenic diet or a keto diet to children who have seizures that you can't control with medications. It is good for your brain. In fact, the opposite, high sugar is actually bad for your brain and can lead to what we think is the starts of Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes people call Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes. So a low carb diet is definitely not dangerous, and it actually is good for you. And you do it every night. When you sleep, you utilize ketones every night. The next question, and I get this a lot too, so thanks for this one. This one also came from Twitter. Can I eat fruit on this plan? Absolutely, you can eat fruit on this plan. You absolutely can, but you want to pick a low carb fruit. I say this all the time. God doesn't know if the sugar that you're eating is coming from a banana or if it's coming from a Snickers bar. There's no tag on the sugar that came from the banana that says, well, hey, this came from a banana, treat me differently. The sugar is processed the same. The only difference is that when you eat certain fruit, you will be getting fiber along with it if you don't squeeze out the fiber. And so it's important to utilize, to understand that. And so there's fruit that you can eat that's very good for you. So that most berries are good for you. So whatever kind of berry, strawberry, blackberry, blueberries, a handful of berries is only about 9 grams of carbs. It has antioxidants in it. It's very good for you. So berries are really good. So clementines are good. So just look at the fruit and make sure that the fruit, you allot for it in your carb allotment. Got some more questions. I'm gonna hold off on this one of these because this one's a doozy. So we'll handle that question. And these came from IG. We'll handle that question in a minute. How much? So this one came from IG. Another one from IG. How much weight should I expect to lose on a no guesswork diet or any diet for that matter? And so the answer to that question is simple. In general, you should be expecting to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's average. If you lose about 3 to 4 pounds a week, that's above average. And if you're doing anything above 5 pounds a week, there may be something that you're doing that maybe not good or you shouldn't be doing. Anything much more than 5 pounds a week, except sometimes in the start of a ketogenic diet, you might get that robust weight loss in the first week. But in general, you shouldn't be losing more than 5 pounds a week. On average, you should expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. So let's go to one of the questions from another question from that scrolled in the IG. Can vegetarians or vegans be successful in the no guesswork diet? That's a very good question, and the answer is yes. So the no guesswork diet is a low carb Mediterranean diet. A Mediterranean diet is good for your heart health. We know Mediterranean diets are good, and so the question is, can a low carb diet? Can a vegetarian do a low carb diet? And the answer is yes. It's a little bit more challenging though, because some of the things that you eat that are satisfying or satiating, you need to avoid. So you still need to avoid a bunch of breads, but a plant-based diet can very successfully be a low carb diet. You just need to focus on the plants and stay away from the starches, and you can get your protein from some of these plants. And we don't. In the next edition of the book, I'm gonna have a whole section on this as well, but we're gonna develop this on the website too. So you can go to the website soon, and you'll be able to get some of those low carb vegetarian options. I'm working with someone on this, and we're gonna be coming out with that very, very soon. But if you can also go online and just Google low carb and vegetarian or vegan, and you will see a lot of different meal plans that you can choose from. So they'll give you some ideas of some of the things that you can eat, even though you're vegetarian or vegan. But that was a very, very good question. The other question is, what foods can I eat in order to get fiber? And so oatmeal is, we talked about oatmeal. I guess that's why the question came up. But you can get fiber from a lot of sources. So what do you need about 30 grams of fiber a day. And the truth is, most of us don't get 30 grams of fiber. And so, so a lot of fiber you get from plants, you get from so vegetables, you can get, so that's why we want you to eat a lot of veggies, because a lot of the fiber we want you to get, you're going to get from a vegetable. And you can get from whole grains. Just so someone said something, can you eat Ezekiel bread on a no guesswork diet? And absolutely. I mean, you want to be careful about how much bread, whether it's Ezekiel bread or not. But as long as you account for it, it's fine. You just need to account for how many carbs are in that bread. And there's certain things, there's actually a no carb or low carb bread that has no refined carbohydrates in it. It only has fiber in it. And so bread like that is good because quite honestly, even though we count total carbs in a no guesswork diet, that bread is almost zero because it doesn't have carbohydrate. It only has fiber in it, so it won't be broken down and absorbed into your body. And so that was a good question. And so someone else asked me, what is the Hunt motivational scale and why did you include it in the book? So the Hunt motivational, before I go there, someone said low carb bread tastes like cardboard. I happen to agree. Some low carb breads aren't as tasty as your typical bread, but there are some that there's a you can make a chaffle, CHAFFLE, and you can make a chaffle as bread, a chaffle. It started with a waffle, so basically it's a low carb waffle, but you can actually make it into a piece of bread. And chaffle, it does not taste like cardboard because it's not. It's made out of eggs, and so it's different. And that low carb bread is very good, but the low carb bread that you are referring to does taste a little different. But I know people who like it. So going back to the HUM motivational scale, and I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then I'm going to wrap up. But the HUM motivational scale, I designed it and did it to help motivate people stick to their diet. And so the HUM motivational scale is a scoring system to see how well you're doing on your diet. So we include that in the book because we want readers to answer the HUM motivational scale. Because I did a study with the HUM motivational scale, and I presented it in Nashville, Tennessee, that showed that if you score high on the HUM motivational scale, it predicts that you will do well in your weight loss journey. And if you score low, it predicts that you won't do well. And so the reason that that's important is because it's broken up into sections. And so if there's a section that you didn't do so well on, focus on that section, get your score up, and once your score is higher, it will predict that you will do well. And so that's why we utilize the HUM motivational scale in our clinic, and that's why I included it in the book, because I want people to get as close to an experience that they can if they visited my clinic, and get all the tools that they would normally get in my clinic. And so so that's what the HUM motivational scale is. It's a very useful tool. It helps keep you honest, and keeps you focused on where you need to be. So someone asked for the chaffle bread, asking for the recipe. There's some online. There's also some that recipe happens to be also in the No Guesswork book, so you can get it from the No Guesswork book. And with that, I'm gonna wait. If there are any last, I told myself I was gonna stay under 30 minutes this time. I'm gonna try to make sure I stay under 30 minutes every time. If there are any last questions, I will attempt to answer them. If not, I just want to say thank you for joining my live. Like I said, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's also on the YouTube channel. You should sign up for the YouTube channel, by the way, subscribe to it. We're going to start putting more things on it. So before I stop, someone did jump in and ask, can you intermittent fast with NGW? And the answer is absolutely. Intermittent fasting follows the same science as NGW does. So what is the science behind NGW? The goal is to get your carbs down, and the reason is because you want to reduce your insulin levels, because once you reduce your insulin levels, you start to release the energy or burn the fat, and so it releases fat, the energy in the fat cell. Carbs increase your insulin the most. So if you reduce your carbs, you reduce your insulin the most. If you what better way to reduce your insulin more is don't eat at all. And that's the whole idea behind intermittent fasting, periods of time that you don't eat. And so in my clinic, sometimes we actually add intermittent fasting along with the No Guesswork diet so that you can do both and get the benefits of both. And they act synergistically, so they both help one another. So it really helps you to get your insulin level to its maximum lowest level. Look at my cousin. Shout out to my cousin Britt. She said her favorite quote is 250 calories from Kelsey is not the same 250 calories from a Snickers bar. That is absolutely correct. We process that 250 calories much different. The 250 calories from a kale salad will not spike your insulin levels like that 250 calories from a Snickers bar. And so, thanks, Brittany. And someone asked, can you follow a low-carb diet if you have low blood pressure? Absolutely. A low-carb diet, you just need to drink stay hydrated. A low-carb diet can actually help to reduce your blood pressure. So someone who already has low blood pressure needs to make sure that they're well hydrated. And sometimes you need to make sure you get enough salt in your diet. You know, we always talk about how you need to eliminate salt, and you do for some people, but some people don't get enough salt in their diet. So there's a nice sweet spot where you should where your salt should be. You should talk to your doctor. But basically, if it's too low, that's not good either. And obviously, if it's too high, that's also not good. And so if you have low blood pressure already, you need to make sure you stay well hydrated and make sure you get enough salt. And so the last question I'm going to answer is, how do you feel about apple cider vinegar? So thanks for that question. Apple cider vinegar is used for a lot of different things. Some of my patients use it to help with their acid reflux, which some swear by it. Some use it to help with their sugar. I haven't seen it help that much with sugar as far as your blood work and looking at your A1C, which is that number that we track. And some people use it to help with weight loss. And again, I personally haven't seen it help that much with weight loss. But the thing is, it won't hurt. So apple cider vinegar won't hurt you. If anything, it may help you. So by all means, you can use it. If you find personally that it helps you, then I think it's not a bad idea to use it. I know there's no good studies that show that it's more effective. And so I think the fact that, all these over-the-counter or herbal medications, you can, I won't say all of them, because some of them you got to be careful when you mix with other prescribed drugs. But many of the over-the-counter medications or herbal medications are safe. Some of them, if you overdo them in excess, you can affect your liver, so you got to be careful. But many of them are safe, and as long as they don't harm you, they're okay to take. But again, check with your doctor to make sure that it is safe in your case, because there are people who can't take certain over-the-counter medications or herbal medications or and the like, because it can affect, there are other things that are going on with them. And so you got to be very, very careful with that. And so with that, I just made my 30 minutes. I really appreciate you guys. We do this every Monday at 6 p.m. You can, watch it again on IG or Facebook or the YouTube channel. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you sign up for the IG page, the No Guesswork IG page. We give a lot of useful information on there. Go through. There's so many things that we put up that are very inspirational things, but also useful information as well. And so I just want to thank you guys again for joining. Hope your week is great, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening, a nice dinner if you haven't eaten already, and I will see you guys next Monday. Take care. Thank you. Bye.